Rack and Fin Radio with Tom P. WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
So after Wednesday, it was striper fishing for the ages. Oh, boy, it's going to kick in again. Slow down a little bit, but that was absolute mayhem. Hey, you're inside Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P. We have November 18th and 19th. Happy Thanksgiving to all. That striper bite was just incredible. Now, as of this past Thursday, Tog went to 5-fish limit. Everybody was fired up for the opener because they were catching loads, magnum loads of blackfish. 1 fish limit up till then. Boom. Little bit of a bust for opening day. In fact, there was some kind of, what the hell happened? Don't worry. It's going to come around. The water's still warm. The fish are still in close. A lot of boats went out there. They were still, some boats caught fish, but there was a lot of stuff happening. Hey, this Monday, Tuesday, winter trout stocking going on. We'll have more of that a little later in the show. Now it's going full tilt boogie. The in-season pheasant and quail stocking. Thanksgiving is a heavy-duty day, so we're going to be getting some extra numbers. Let's go with some stocking numbers. These are ringnecks for this coming Tuesday, November 21st. Already, man. Colliers, these are our favorite tracks we had. Colliers Mills is going to get 200 for Turkey Day, 300. Now, Turkey Day numbers are the second ones. Howardsville, 50 and 70. Manahawkin also 50 and 70. Medford, 80, 130. And Stafford Forge, 160 and 240. Ooh, down here in the Southlands, I love these areas, man. You come out of here sometimes like you're in a meat grinder. Dix 130 and 190, Glassboro 100, 150, Heiserville 50 and 70, Mad Horse 90 and 140, Millville 340, 510, Nantuxet 110 and 170, Little Port Republic, very surprising track there right off the Parkway, off Suey's Landing Road right there. It's that exit 48, 50 and 70. You have you get a good lab or springer in there, man. Oh, guys with the Britneys, calm your asses down instead of That's Springer and Lab territory. 1570, Tuckahoe 110, 160, same for Tuckahoe, and Winslow 140 and 210. And for the Bob Whites, on the 21st, Greenwood and Pisa would be getting 280 each, and for Thanksgiving Day, getting 600 each. We have a really jam show up against the break. Now listen, enforcement is aggressive on this life vest deal. There's some misinformation. I was talking to a guy at a shop. Oh, it's we're talking. I said, and I got a warning. I said, were you under power when you had your, I was in a kayak and what? Here's the deal. If you're under power, even if it's on a freaking paddle board, you have to be wearing a life vest. It's going to go to May 1st or sometime in May. And the COs and the Marine Police, State Police, they are being very aggressive with this. So it's easy peasy. Just wear it. When you stop to fish, you take whatever, stop to hunt. When you're under power, when you're moving, you have to have that life vest. Okay, grab that cup, grab that Rebel. Be right back with Tom Foti. We're talking stripers now. Hey, what is coming down the line? They're talking more. Are there more restrictions going on? When you see all the fish that are being caught, man, the videos I've seen, what we've caught, how could they possibly want to put more restrictions on the stripers or divvy them up differently? Or, hey, we're even going to talk possibility if numbers decline, the biomass, whatever, recruitment declines, the M word. Tom Foti will straighten that out next 2 segments. So grab that cup, grab that Rebel. Be right back. Rack and Fin Radio. Oh, man. It's just a lot of stuff going on. Oh, yeah. Not to give up on the deer hunting. Predicated on the DMZs. Some DMZs, the permit bow ends tonight, half hour after sunset. Other ones end next, I guess, the 26th until other ones go, predicated on where you're hunting, go into next February. So just check the Fish and Wildlife Digest, the pages in there for your regulation set and your DMZ. Don't be hunting in the wrong zone with the wrong permit either. You don't want that to happen. Okay, be right back. I put it out there. Be right back. Rack and Fin Radio.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Rack and Fin Radio with Tom P. WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
As I mentioned earlier, this striper, but people were saying last year, I've never seen anything like this. The year before, I've never seen anything like this. This year it's been crazy. Now it toned down a little bit Wednesday and Thursday. Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, even off the surf. Again, you could have walked on the fish. Now, they're coming down in smaller sizes, as is the norm. So people are saying, finally, we can keep a fish that's within the 28 to 31, or those fortunate enough to have bonus tags. If you had the, wherewithal to apply for a bonus tag, they're free and get it. You have one fish 24 to under 28. And sand eels, again, as I mentioned, sand eels are here. So you have the bunker, you have the sand eels, Mary Mother of God. It's a cornucopia, and the stripers seem to be never-ending. Guys are talking about, hey, man, this may even go into close to New Year's Day after Christmas like it has on occasion in the past. But there is a dark cloud on the horizon. We've been hearing that. I stopped in a couple of tackle shops in my travels. Tom P., what's going on with that? Are they going to cut the sea? Even the M word came up. And the M word, our very special guest patiently waiting on the line, is going to explain that. Was there ever an M word as in moratorium, or what's going on? And what's going to be happening very soon? Fish and Wildlife is going to be calling for a public hearing on the proposed striper changes upcoming. It's Tom Foti, very special friend of Rack and Fin Radio for many years. Love Tommy, man. He has just been out there. He's the warrior. He's the legislative chairman, Jersey Coast Anglers Association and New Jersey State Federation of Sportsmen's Club. And he sits on the New Jersey Board of Clean Water Action National Group. Tom, as we talked the other night, the striper stuff, my head is spinning. You know how jammed and empty that can be at times. And I said, Tom, what is happening? I'm seeing, Tom, that there's 5 proposals coming up. Stripers are in trouble. The spawning thing is 1/5, or the recruitment is 1/5 or 1/4 less than 10-year, or 1/10 less. I can't keep track, Foti. Can you spread some light on this really hot topic?
Okay. When we basically look at recruitment in the Chesapeake Bay, there's been some real problems. But it hasn't anything to do with the size of the spawning stock biomass. We have a spawning stock biomass large enough to produce the highest young of the year. We look at past history, and that's what's happened. The environmental conditions with the warm water, with the Chesapeake Bay becoming a real Sioux because of the extra temperature, you start raising things 4 or 5 degrees, and all of a sudden all kinds of bacteria and diseases basically pop up. And then add the blue catfish into the mixture, which love to go around and eat everything in its path, of course, fry striped bass. And those things go to 100 pounds, even bigger than the striped bass. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's Virginia's fault because they introduced them into the rivers that flew into the Chesapeake Bay.
They never expected them to be able to adapt to brackish. So listen, you want to read about the blue catfish? Check. I think I had articles in the October edition of the Fisherman Magazine, or November issue. I called it up, Tangled Up in Blue. Read about it. Tom, Virginia, Maryland, really, the Rappahannock, Rapidan rivers really took a hit with this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and it's historically, we've had bad stretches because of environmental. We have had the perfect non-conditions for the day. There's no snow melt for the last 4 years because we had no snow.
Yeah.
Think about it. In New Jersey, we had no snow last year, so you didn't have the cold water going down. You had warm water going down. And even in the ocean, we were, 40 degrees? I don't think we ever got below 38 degrees in the ocean this year. So it basically affects what we do. It also, the Chesapeake Bay has been in trouble for years. I mean, we've had good spawn. I mean, in 2015, 2018, 2011, because the conditions were right. And we hopefully every year we basically say, and this goes back, people don't remember Bob Pond, Adam Lewis, but that's what he came around. And we used to talk about acid rain. We used to talk about.
I remember acid rain, the early '80s. Too. I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, so there was always this discussion that we basically knew that was a problem. So the Chesapeake Bay used to produce about 85% or 80% of the coastal migratory stocks. So that's before the Delaware River kicked in. And that's going back way back in the early 80s, before they still had the sewer block and before the sewer plants in Philadelphia cleaned it up. And then we basically got the Hudson River and the Delaware River contributing a bigger and bigger percentage every year. Now, some of the tagging studies they've done in the last couple of years, in the last 15 years, shows some years that almost 40% of the stock that is in the coastal migratory stock has been coming from the Delaware and Hudson River. I mean, but we don't get any credit for this because in the dark of night, as usual, these things happen. Many years ago, Bruce Freeman and I had to leave a meeting because we had a plane, and as we left the meeting, New York joined together with Maryland and Virginia and took away the producing area status for the Delaware River and the Hudson River. So when we allocated the spawning stock, we allocated 25% of the coastal migratory stock to the producing areas so they could harvest that in the fall. And that's how Maryland got their trophy program. But Maryland took the whole 25%, and the other producing areas got not. And so we've been get shortchanged for the last 25 years. And basically it adds up for a while. As we produce a bit more here, I mean, I've been, I sit on MAFAC, and the last 8 months, the last 9 months, we didn't talk about what we do with coastal resiliency to climate change. And nobody knows the answer. I mean, we can try our best, but there's no reason, and that's what I get really mad at. There's no reason to put this pain of a 3-inch slot limit when we know it has no effect whether we have a good recruitment or not, because the spawning stock biomass is basically doing. And we do the same thing in summer flounder. And that's because managers don't think outside the box, because the Magnuson-Stevens Act will allow them to do that. And the commission does the same thing now. They used to be more flexible, but they're not. They've got hook, line, and sinker. And the other problem here is the push by the guys that catch and release.
I was just going to ask you that, Fody. Is there something else in play here on the recreational end?
These guys want to be able to go out and catch hundreds of fish at a time. Hook and release mortality kills more fish than we do from basically taking 2 fish home to eat. And then they say, well, we want to maybe, and I helped start Stripers Forever, but I quit when they got very elitist. And they just put out a release the other day. Maybe we should put a moratorium on the commercial and the recreational fishery, because it won't affect them. They're catch and release guys. Most of these guys take out people with a lot of money that don't want to take a home of fish to eat. I'm sorry, I grew up eating fish. That's what I like to do. That's one of the reasons I fish. And they're so selfish, they have no regards. They cause 50% of the mortality, and yet they're basically trying to restrict the poor guy that wants to do these regulations. So when they put out these options, I said we go back to status quo with, the 25, which I didn't support, the 28 to 35, but at least it gave an opportunity for people to take fish home to eat, and that should be one of the primary objectives of fisheries. We're supposed to have sustainable fisheries and produce fish so people can enjoy the resource. And and these guys attacked mercilessly there was a public hearing the other night on the internet from Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and these guys were just calling all the guys on the beach. They called them all criminals because they do this, they do that. Then they called all the party and charter boats they're criminal, and yet they're not criminals when they go into the hot water in the bays and estuaries, playing with their fly rods, and basically hooking fish on light tackle, which will basically stress them out more in the summertime.
They're croaked.
Fish in the flats.
Those fish are croaked.
Yeah, so they're very hypocritical. I've told you this. When I go out fishing anymore, after I catch and release 10 to 12 fish, I quit fishing for the day. Because I basically might have killed one hook and release mortality, and if I'm taking one home, that's my two fish. And that's the way I've been, self-regulating myself. But, these guys don't do that. And when the fish are biting, they'll sit there and catch 50 or 60, hold them up for pictures, and put undue stress on the fish. Now, is there a problem? Yeah, it's a problem with every bay and estuary. Now, stripers are moving and they're spawning in different areas. There's a lot of talk about the Navesink maybe producing fish again. There's talk about, maybe in Connecticut those streams are. There seem to be a lot of fish in this area, and that because the Hudson River and the Delaware River are producing a lot of. They're good young of the years, and that's what supplies most of our fish that we have except when the migration starts.
Mm-hmm.
So the other states haven't been seeing the fish that way because they mainly count on the Chesapeake Bay stock. And, it creates all kinds. Now, these proposals they put out, the one that really upset me the most, I mean, I'm going, if I was ever anybody, I should say status quo to 3 years ago when we had 28 to 35. Because we haven't seen what that produced. The only thing that's been happening is in New York, because they have a lot of fish, and those are probably Hudson River fish, we're shutting down the whole coast. And the guys from Massachusetts, when they have a hook and line fishery commercially that gets over a million pounds, and they're targeting that year class we're supposed to be protecting, and they didn't do a damn thing about that. Not a damn thing. Didn't even mention it, because that's the guys that does all the work for the catch and release guys, because he wants to protect his commercial hook and line fishery. That's his whole effort in Cape. I mean, when you talk about a moratorium, there was never a moratorium.
There you go, Tom. Straight out. Tom, there definitely was. I said, they're definitely, clear that up, please.
What states did, because Maryland and Virginia couldn't shut down the EEZ, and these guys were bringing fish in for the EC and landing them in Maryland and Virginia. They just put a moratorium in Maryland and Virginia. That was a state-imposed moratorium. Other states, over a period of time, Maine, Connecticut, New York, put in. Massachusetts and New Jersey did not. If you remember those days, we started out with a 28-inch size limit, but we wanted to protect the good year class. So we raised the size limit 2 inches above what that stock would be every year. So we started out at 28, went to 30, then went to 32, 34, 36. And as we were just going to go bigger, they opened the fishery because we had a good production. And that was basically what stopped us from raising the size limit. During that time, Massachusetts, as usual, was sending 100,000 pounds to the market, hook and line fishery, commercial fishery. All you need to do is pay for $100 for a permit, and it allows you to land 15 fish a day commercially.
10 hookers, yep.
Yeah, and don't tell me they're monitoring this fish. I mean, we know what's going on in Raritan Bay. How many illegal striped bass go into Staten Island and Brooklyn? I mean, they know, and they don't do anything about it because most of them are retired, how would I put this, firemen and cops. And so the conservation officers aren't grabbing them. They're just worried about us crossing the line and having a New Jersey-sized fish going on.
Okay, so Tom. Well, Tom Foti, we're up against a hard break. He's joining us on the line right now. This is a very special guest, Tom Foti, Legislative Chairman, Jersey Coast Anglers Association, New Jersey State Federation of Sportsmen's Clubs, and Tom's a New Jersey member of the board of Clean Water Action, and has been a warrior for decades upon decades as the Striper Wars, the Striper Warrior. We're up against a break. Grab that cup, grab that Red Bull. Come back with a couple of the options that we're going to be seeing. I don't know, Tom, before we get to the break, I know over there, calm down. The stripers are so numerous, beyond eating the paint off but they're eating the boats. And people say, why are they going to restrict us even more? Tom, I don't know. That still gets me. People, grab that cup, grab that Red Bull. We'll be right back with Tom Foti, Rack and Fin Radio.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 FM and 1450 AM. South Jersey's talk station. Fox on Film.
I'm Michelle Polino. In theaters, the horror film Thanksgiving after a Black Friday riot ends in tragedy. A mysterious Thanksgiving-inspired killer terrorizes Plymouth, Massachusetts, the birthplace of the holiday, picking off residents one by one. What begins as random revenge killings are soon revealed to be part of a larger, sinister holiday plan.
Mr. Snow.
Also on the big screen, The Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, years before he would become the tyrannical president of Pan Am. 18-year-old Coriolanus Snow is the last hope for his fading lineage, a once proud family that has fallen from grace in a post-war capital. Trolls band together after 2 films of true friendship and relentless flirting. Poppy and Branch are now officially a couple. As they grow closer, Poppy discovers that Branch has a secret past. He was once part of her favorite boy band, Brozone. Justin Timberlake and Anna Kendrick return as the lead characters. That's Fox on Film on Fox News.
Blue Chair Bay Rum presents Kenny Chesney, Zach Brown Band,
and a little bit of chicken fried.
Sun Goes Down 2024 tour.
I got my toes in a wire.
With Megan Maroney. And Uncle Cracker.
Everything gets hotter when the sun goes down.
Saturday, June 8th, Lincoln Financial Field.
Shut up and kiss me, all the pretty girls said. Wishing I was deep in the water somewhere. Got the blue sky.
Kenny Chesney, Zach Brown Band. With Megan Maroney and Uncle Cracker. Saturday, June 8th, Lincoln Financial Field. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Messina Touring Group and AEG Presents.
We're messed up, but we're all right.
Get early access to Macy's Black Friday specials and find big savings on gifts they'll love right now while supplies last. Like the season's latest coats, 60 to 65% off. Select boots and shoes for her, just $19.99. And update your space with furniture, mattresses, and rugs, now 20 to 70% off. Plus, get your online order even faster with store pickup, now at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Discover, this is Daniela.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great, but with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Do you like asparagus and mushroom sorbet? I've got leftovers.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Rack and Fin Radio with Tom P. WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Yeah, we're back inside Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P. Thanksgiving, pre-Thanksgiving weekend, November 18th and 19th. A lot of stuff going on, people. The fishing's out of control. As I said, the tog and stripers are a topic right now. The deer hunting's still going on. Pheasants, and it's crazy. But let's get back to the stripers. My head is spinning. Very special guest on the Rack and Fin line to try to explain it is Tom Foti, Legislative Chairman, Jersey Coast Anglers Association, New Jersey State Federation of Sportsmen's Clubs, and he sits on the board of Clean Water Action National Group. Well, Tom, like I said, the stripers seem so plentiful. I'm looking at the draft document for public comment. There's 5 options, A through E. We're going to address this at a later show down the road pretty soon, sometime in December, because there's going to be a public meeting, public hearing, whatever on it. Tom, what do you find to be, out of these, the most, for lack of a better term, controversial or pro-recreational angler? Are there any that are pro-recreational angler? What's these options? It's for hire vessels, shore-bound anglers. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you asked me what option I would choose. None of these. None of the above.
I knew that was coming. From Bodie.
I mean, guy, what the hell are we doing? We're basically telling fishermen that we're going to put these restrictive regulations on them, really condemning them to basically not be able to take fish home to eat, to build up the spawning stock biomass when we know it's big enough to produce the highest young of the year. So you're doing this without knowing that it's not going to really have any result. Even if the spawning stock biomass gets bigger, it's not going to make any difference unless the environmental conditions do it. So you're needlessly doing this. And the stock is way above where it needs to be. I could say if we were going through the old reference points. But, because of the catch and release guys screaming, we've raised the reference points 3 times in 10 years.
That's right, yeah.
And they're more restrictive, more restrictive, more restrictive. I mean, we did just the opposite with summer flounder. So if you ask me which one, now, the one I find most offensive, and it's also illegal in New Jersey, because we have an environmental justice law that was passed, which means we cannot disadvantage the poor and the subsistence fishermen and people that depend on fishing to take home to eat. When you look at that category, and I'm not picking on the party in charter, but I wish they should be at one fish between 28 and 35. The rest of us all should be, but you can't give them a bigger slot limit than you give the guy that fishes from the beach, the jetty, the piers, the docks, because unlike when you did bluefish, you gave 5 to the party boats and 3 to the private boats. They still had the opportunity to bring home a fish to eat. When you're doing this, you're restricting their right to harvest the fish. I mean, because you're putting a different standard on them. And they're not as flexible as the guys in the boats. So everybody should have the same regulation no matter which one of the poisons you choose, because it's all poisons. I mean, they're all going to hurt the tackle stores. They're going to hurt the... I mean, there's charter boat captains, you know it, the ones that cater to people that want to go out and fish and also take one home to eat. They're not getting customers. They're not canceling charters.
Mm-hmm.
And the tackle stores are not coming in to buy tackle. I mean, yeah, there's some abuse of the law, you know, with the snag and things. People are trying to get around it. I mean, that shouldn't have happened, but that's not what the problem is. The problem is also 50% of this is catch and release mortality, and none of this addresses that. None of this at all, because the catch and release guys don't want to shut down because they can't do charters.
So, Tommy, that's behind the scene political pressure, correct?
Yes. I mean, think about it. You and I know there's guys that are charter boat captains that are, and private boat captains that do catch and release, but they're fishing in the EEZ. Well, we're catching bluefish. We're looking for... They're out there targeting striped bass.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And because they're releasing them all, they're not worried about being caught. But they're causing the problem, as we all are doing. And the catch and release mortality is anywhere between 49 and 51% of the total mortality, depending on what year you look at. So that means we're wasting a lot of fish by catch and release. And I know people need to be educated more on how to do it. I mean, I've stopped taking pictures of fish unless I'm going to take it home to eat. Because every time you stress a fish out, taking them out, holding them up, stretching them, take a picture, I mean, it doesn't make some of the charter boat captains that I fish with once in a while. No, you can't take my picture unless I'm taking the fish home to eat. Because I'm not going to put them on the strip, release them in the water. Because that's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what we do with billfish. If you're going to do a catch and release fishery, that's what you do. You don't hold them up before the camera to take a picture. And that's been restricted in the billfish thing. You notice they don't take those fish out of the water.
Exactly right.
Without the tarpon down.
Tarpon, I was just going to say tarpon down, especially the area of the Keys I was in for many years. Well, Tom, listen to this. Is the dreaded M word, is that even a possibility, or is that just the Chicken Little dealio?
Well, moratorium because the catch and release guys don't want it. Massachusetts doesn't want it because it'll affect their fishery. Because moratorium wouldn't affect the commercial hook and line fishery. They would still fish because they're fishing on a quota, so they don't really care. And so, and the recreational guys, the ones that they're listening to, is the guys that are protecting their commercial fishery. And as long as they can catch and release, they don't care what you do, except if you want to close it, because then you can't legally advertise a charter for hook, catch, and release. You can't take out a fly charter. And plus, you shouldn't be fishing for striped bass in a moratorium. I mean, they try to enforce it in the Chesapeake. It's a little difficult. We've caught people. We've given tickets years ago for people doing that in the Delaware River. But it takes law enforcement sitting on a bank somewhere and watching the guys target fish. And that's what you got to prove.
And you're right. And there's not enough personnel to do it. Well, Tommy, two things I want to get to, because we're up against the break pretty soon with James. When I came down back in 88, 89, fishing with the Lake Rage, shout out to George Loader and to my main man, Dick Wood, out there, and Jack Neal, fishing up in the Tuckahoe, Egg Harbor River, fishing for white perch and catching, I'm talking late 80s, early 90s, catching stripers anywhere from, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, up to 8, 9 inches, 10 inches, stripers. Not bad. These were stripers.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, are there, and also up there in the mount, I caught some there, what's that, in the Madison, by Gull Island or something, and in the back there by Avalon, Townsend's Inlet. So are there self-sustaining natural reproduction besides the Delaware River on the coast, correct? I mean, these rivers we don't know, but I'm seeing them.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, it's very difficult even to prove the different stock between the Delaware and the Chesapeake Bay. Because of that Chesapeake Bay Canal between Delaware, and there's a lot of cross going around, so when they do DNA tests, they can pick out the Hudson River fish, but they have a hard time figuring out the Delaware fish from the Chesapeake Bay fish. So that complicates the problem. But if those fish was being spawned in mulligat and things, as we did DNA tests, which costs money, that costs money. You got to be able to have a sampling program aside, and of course nobody spends money on fisheries no matter what. I mean, think about it. We're still in the dark ages. perfect example. NIPS is still spending $18 million to get all the recreational survey, all this great information we get from MREPs or MERPs, or whatever you want to call the fallacy of recreational statistics. And I mean, and that's what we were spending in 1980s, and we're still spending the same amount of money because Congress says, yeah, you need to do it, but they don't appropriate the money. So we should be putting pressure on Jeff Van Drew, on Andy Kim, our congressman here, to get the money funded to do all this research. We spent a lot of money on research. Also, people forget that when we rebuilt these stocks back in the 80s, in the Chesapeake Bay, Maryland and Virginia were putting tens of thousands of fingerlings, not baby stripers, but 2-inch fingerlings that were raised in sterile environments. So they didn't have the PCB contamination, didn't have the dioxin and everything else, so they were probably healthier males and females to reproduce. And that's what helped get us back to where we were in the end of the 80s when we can reopen the fishery, because a lot of those fish were up on the spawning grounds, and when they fled, because remember they had the little magnetic strip where they could tell where it was a hatchery fish?
Right.
And a large of those numbers of fish were basically hatchery fish.
Joining us on the line is Tom Foti. He's legislative chairman, Jersey Coast Anglers Association and Jersey State Federation Sportsman's Club, and he sits on the board of the Clean Water Action. Well, Tom, in closing, last topic. I'm surprised because I ask a lot of people, oh, yeah, we can't take, a lot of the fish are bigger than a slot. We can't take any home. Or we got some smaller ones. I said, do you have a bonus tag? Well, no, I didn't bother to get one. What a bonus tag? You get 124 to 28, and they'll give you other ones or whatever. Tom, now the bonus tag, what's the word out there hearing? Who's trying to take the bonus tag, eliminate it and or glom it and put it somewhere else from Jersey? Who's that? What's that all about?
Well, supposedly on the call the other night, the catch and release guys, the catch and release guides, I would call them. Guides, yeah. The ones from New Jersey, and they're from down your area, the South, said we should do away with the program because we shouldn't allow this to even happen. So they're the guys pushing to basically screw this program up with the Guides Association and a few others. And really, it's a separate quota that's handled separately. And the reason we did that to be conservation-minded about those fish. We knew if there's pressure on it, as soon as they heard that they were basically fighting it, the two commercial guys on the New Jersey Marine Fisheries Council said, well, maybe we should go back to a hook line commercial fishery. Now, I said, go ahead and try to get that law passed. At least I'll get everybody activated again and they get them involved, because people just sit back now and don't turn out to public hearings. We at least had 100 people on the hearing the other night, which is a large number, but only maybe 15 or 20 of us talked all night. What we need to do is this public hearing that's coming up, show up in force. Tell them you don't want this. Tell them you want to go back to the 28 to 35. And this is needlessly hurting New Jersey anglers and everybody else needlessly, because this is not the problem. Yeah, listeners, the NJDEP, Marine Fisheries, whatever, will be holding at least one additional in-person hearing. It's going to be announced soon. Tom, you think maybe the end of this coming week or maybe early next week? This is where you make your voice heard. Be there something, T, because this is This is just a mess. Since the comment period is over by the December 22nd, right? And so I would imagine they're going to do a hearing the first or second week in December. Okay, that's when my guess, and it might even be tied into the council meeting since they'll have staff there and they'll do it right after the council. Exactly right. That's what they've done before. So I'm just making assumptions. Since I am no longer the commissioner, I have nothing to do, and I've been out of action because of my health. So it's hell, Fody, you sound healthy and pissed off and fired up to me. I've had good news with my health, so I'm ready to fight again. Hey, man, here's it. Okay, listeners, we're up against a hard break. Tom Fody, thanks for joining us. Let's get together in a couple of weeks and flesh this out some more. Listen, I want to go over these options when we have more time to dedicate it to this, okay? 2 weeks, got to do it. Okay, people, be right back. Rack of Radio. Fody, you go take care. Happy Thanksgiving, man. Best of Linda. Yeah, you too. We'll see you, brother.
Only one talk station in South Jersey has an app that's focused exclusively on what's happening in Atlantic and Cape May counties. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Don't fish through some generic app along with thousands of other stations. The WPG Talk Radio app brings you the latest South Jersey news and weather information, breaking news push notifications, and more. Download the WPG Talk Radio app today through WPGTalkRadio.com.
Fox News, I'm Chris DeMeo. Saturday marks 6 weeks since the attacks on Israel from Hamas. The war is intensifying.
The IDF is tightening its grip in and around northern Gaza. In fact, some military officials saying that they are now moving deeper into Gaza, saying they will go anywhere where Hamas is.
Fox's Jeff Paul from southern Israel. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis making the pitch for term limits in Congress.
We need term limits for members of Congress. It'd be a very good reform. We need it. You actually don't need to get it through the House and the Senate. That's one way to do it. I don't think they would ever do it. They're not going to term limit themselves. The way you do it is under Article 5.
The governor had a campaign stop in Iowa. Article 5 describes the process of changing the Constitution. A suspect and another person dead after a shooting at a New Hampshire psychiatric hospital yesterday. America's listening to Fox News.
Your WPG Atlantic City Electric AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. Breezy shower in the area this morning. Partly sunny this afternoon. A gusty wind could give us a high fire threat. High today 61. Clear tonight, low 29. Sunny day tomorrow, the high 57. Sun and clouds on Monday, the high Monday 49. Cloudy with periods of afternoon rain Tuesday, the high Tuesday at 54. I'm AccuWeather Steve Williams on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Rack and Fin Radio with Tom P. WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
And it seems as if it's never over. Thankfully, and especially in the parallel universe of Rack and Fin Radio, is the trout stocking in New Jersey. Bureau of Freshwater Fisheries again coming through the winter trout stocking. Now, winter, I know it's in Indian summer. The past weather has been really nice. Takes place the week of Thanksgiving, the first 2 days. Now, Monday and Tuesday, the hatchery trucks will be rolling. Monday's load is mostly concentrated up north and central. At the top end of the Rack and Fin Radio listening area, looking at Shenandoah Lake in Ocean County getting 240 trout, Toponimus and Spring Lake getting 190 and 200 respectively. It is the second day, Tuesday, that really rocks. And you'll see my ad down there at Birch Grove Park Pond. Then I'll run down there to Ponder Lodge Pond, the great Ponder Lodge Pond there in the Villas in Lower Township. But on the 21st of Tuesday, Barbers Pond and Mount Hope Pond, Passaic and Morris counties, respectively, 260 and 280. Here we go with the South Jersey Gems. Haddon Lake's going to get 200. Rowan's Pond, 100. Those are both in Camden County. South Vineland Park Pond and Shaw's Mill Pond, 190 and 200, respectively. They're in Cumberland County. Birch Grove Park Pond's right back here. Now, the first two ponds are the ones that are stocked. They're going to be getting 190. That's Atlantic County. And the great Ponder, at Point 2 Ponder, the Ponder Lodge, 106. Like I said, that's down in Lower Township, the Villas in Cape May. Now, these are the 2-year-old rainbows. Big ass, robust, beautiful trout. Joining us online right now, very special guest. Great to have him on in this because they're already gearing to spring, or have been, is Ed Conley. He's the Pequest Trout Hatchery Superintendent. We're going to talk this third tier. We have the spring stocking. Then you have the October stock. Now, it was barely 6 weeks ago. Loaded. South Jersey got loaded. And now the winter stocking, great, too, for the families, especially Thanksgiving week. Give the fish 24 hours to acclimate. You can fish while they're stocking the fish. Even some always get caught. It's a great, fun time, especially if the weather cooperates. Mr. Conley, great job. I'm telling you that in advance. How you doing, Ed?
All right. Thank you, Tom.
This winter program, it just seemed he just finished stocking. Here we have it, the 2 days, very special in the Tom P. book. That Thanksgiving week, Ed, this winter, it's a master stroke on the part of Bureau of Fisheries, DEP's Fish and Wildlife. So, Ed, go into now, these fish they're 2-year-olds. Go to the process. You don't have much time, but go to the process, what it takes, because you used to have, listeners, they used to be 1-year-old fish, and then they changed that in 2006. They began stocking the 2-year-old fish, 14 to 16 inches. They decreased the number, okay, because, now you're going from Slim Jims to salamis, in Italian speak, so to speak. And then 2016, they adjusted some waters because these fish survive, November through the winter. Areas you can ice fish, they're legal, and they provide open water fishing through the winter. So, Ed, this was a master stroke on the part, but getting these 2-year-old fish ready. Go into the process, please.
Basically, these fish, like you said, they were eggs about 2 years ago, and they spend the first probably they're hatched in probably like October, and then the following year, usually about between April and June, they're moved out into the raceways, and they spend their time there, and basically another year goes by, and then they become the spring stockers after 18 months. And and then after spring stocking towards the end there, the winter fish are taken out of the production, and then they're put in the raceways at a low density to catch up the growth on them to make them larger for the stocking in the winter.
Yeah, it seems like a massive, quick growth spurt there. When you think of 18 months is to the 2-year-old size. Now, when you say they're removed, are they not individually chosen? The certain raceway picked. How are these fish? You decide, okay, these are going to be for October, these are going to be for November. From the spring stocking. How does that work? Yeah,
the fall fish are taken out earlier, and they're set up, but we don't have raceway space until basically the spring stockers go out. So we take them off the spring stocking production, which is all figured into our numbers. And then at that point, we have some raceways available to stick them in and try to catch them up. So,
well, Ed, now you say you spread them out and give them more space. Is the amount of food increase, or they'll just happen to grow faster because fewer fish are getting the same amount of feed? Is that the deal?
Well, yeah, that's the basic deal. We have a feed program that we can calculate our final goals.
Now, Ed, here's to me, this is the logistics. It's almost like a military maneuvers here. Getting the fish, Ed, from Pequest in Oxford, up there in Warren County, for example, to Ponder Lodge, to Birch Grove, right down the street, or to Shawsville, to South Violent, come look at Park Pond. They are driven down from there in its entirety? Are there transfer trucks involved? How does this get done?
The winter stocking is done with mostly hatchery personnel, with some outside help, other bureaus and that. And they're just, they're loaded about 7 a.m., between 7 and 9 in the morning, and they hit the road, and, hopefully everybody has their loads by before the evening there.
Yeah, that's a long day, especially for the one coming back. Shout out to Jimmy Hardaby. He was now she's assistant director, Lisa Barno. Shout out to Lisa. She was on a rundown here a few years ago in the Birch Grove and came to Ponder Lodge Pond there and I said, you guys have a long ass ride back. She says, yeah, it's a long day. She said, but it's great. And because Ed, the people were out in force. It was great to see. It's a very popular program down here. I imagine there's other parts of the state as well. So kudos to that. Listeners, again, the winter trout stocking this coming Monday and Tuesday, 4,380 2-year-old rainbows, fish 14 to 16, some a little longer, big husky bass and rainbows, and spread out through 11 counties. And it's a Tuesday that's really going to pique the South Jersey interest. Again, on the 21st, Haddon Pond gets stocked 200, Rowan's Pond 100, South Violent Park Pond 190, Shaw's Mill Pond 200, Birch Grove Park right down here 190, and Ponder Lodge Pond 160. Connolly, great job as usual. We expect no less. And you're already cranking up for the spring, I imagine. Is there ever a slow time up there?
No, we always got 3-year classes on site, so we're always busy, Tom.
Well, great job. Listen, barring any unforeseen weather. Oh, Tom P., it might rain Tuesday. So what? The fish are wet. When you say, and don't go with your striper tackle, please. Give these guys to show their mettle. You must have a license and trout stamp, and the daily limit is 4. You can do catch and release because remember, these fish are going to hold over through the winter into the early spring. And to me, Ed, it's a great bonus for the next year's opening day, which is going to be April 6th. I think it's a win-win all around. What about you?
Yep, it's definitely these fish, if they're not caught, they're available for the spring.
Okay, Ed, you take care. Happy Thanksgiving, best of the family. Hope to see you at Pequest one of these days. You'll hear me coming, Conley. I start yapping when I get on 31 off 78.
All right, thanks, Tom, and everybody get out there and catch these great fish.
Take care, brother.
Bye.
Yeah, it's a win-win all around. I mean, you can fish while they're stocking the fish. It's great to the youngsters. What school was it? St. Augustine. I remember a couple of years ago I was down here, and the kids, I said, why aren't you in school? Hey, mister, we're off. Yo, dude, calm down. But they're just messing with them. These kids were so excited. The adults there were excited. Even people my age were excited. Seeing these fish being stocked, the Bureau's doing a super job. And it's a little something different. We have the bass, we have the pickerel, and the stripers and tagas I mentioned earlier. They're going crazy. Just something different, and it's great for the families because in all reality, give these trout about 24, 36 hours, maybe 40 out to really acclimate. Don't forget, they're coming from the spring water of Pequest to various, different water chemistries down here, especially in the south, to acclimate, and they put the feed bags on, especially if you have youngsters. They will have a rod-bending blast. Okay, be right back to wrap it up. Rack and Fin Radio. Happy Thanksgiving weekend already. Wasn't it just Memorial Day? Man, it is going quickly. Be right back. Rack and Fin Radio.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 FM and 1450 AM. South Jersey's talk station.
Happy holidays, dear neighbors and friends. This is the Greater Atlantic City Chamber, your dedicated community partner, and we have a special message for you. As the holiday season approaches, we invite you to embrace the spirit of giving, togetherness, and celebration. And there's no better way to do that than by shopping local. Our Atlantic County businesses are the heart and soul of our community, providing not just products, but a unique, personalized shopping experience that you won't find anywhere else. Whether it's the delightful boutiques, cozy restaurants, or charming artisan markets, our community is a treasure trove of hidden gems. By choosing to shop local, you're not just finding the perfect gifts, you're supporting your neighbors, friends, and the businesses that make our county thrive. This holiday season, let's make it memorable, let's make it local. From all of us at the Greater Atlantic City Chamber, we wish you a joyous, safe, and happy holiday season. Connect with the Greater Atlantic City Chamber and support our vibrant community by visiting acchamber.com. Happy holidays and happy shopping.
Hi everyone, I'm Keith Urban. The words "your child has cancer" is devastating news for a family. But I'm also encouraged that there's a place just like St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. St. Jude doctors and scientists have pioneered treatments that have helped push the overall survival rates for childhood cancers to more than 80% today. And St. Jude won't stop until no child dies from cancer.
Azalea had a solid tumor cancer that's found in muscles that's called rhabdomyosarcoma. We see her future clear and bright. It means so much to us. It means so much to childhood cancer research. And we can never ever say thank you enough to St. Jude and to all the donors that contribute to St. Jude.
Give thanks for the healthy kids in your life and give a gift that could last a lifetime. Donate now at stjude.org or give wherever you see the St. Jude logo.
Rack and Fin Radio with Tom P. WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Closing it out the weekend of November 18th and 19th on Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P. Okay, for those who cannot get enough of the stripers and the tournaments. Now, the surf tournaments are going on. They've going on for a while. A really unique one coming up. It's the 12th annual Surf Turkey Tournament out of Charlie's Bait and Tackle up there in Normandy Beach. It's going to be a 4 or 5 day tournament. We have the Pete Cupper online, owner of Charlie's, great guy, super fisherman, makes those resin plugs we had on last year. He's going to give us a little lowdown on this 4-day tournament with a great feed at a great restaurant afterwards. Petey, how you doing, little brother?
Good, Tommy. How are you today?
Lock, cocked, and ready to rock. Okay, this is going to go from November 22nd through the 25th. Give us the particulars of the 12th Annual Surf Turkey Tournament. Go!
Okay, it starts Wednesday, November 26th, 5 a.m. to Saturday, the 25th at 5 p.m. We're guaranteed $2,000 cash prize for the longest striper. We pay second longest striper, and then we have a 5-striper stringer where we add up your first 5 fish you submit. It's a catch-and-release tournament. We give you the tape measure. You take a picture and send it in to us. And then on Saturday night at 6 o'clock up at Used to Be's, we have a awards dinner.
Used to Be's. that's my thing, Peter.
Man.
Well, Peter, what's the entry fee? Do they have to register? Can they register online? Do they go to the shop up there on Route 34? What's the dealio?
They got to call. They got to stop in the shop or give us a call. We'll hold it. They got to stop it and give us pay. It's $45 an angler. And then we have for the dinner, if you want the fish dinner, it's $20, or you can come in and just order off the menu.
Petey, remember the day when you could bring in your stripers and you would have the big striper feed? I remember those days. Petey, what do you, as a tackle shop owner, acute businessman, you've been very successful in this business for decades. Real fast, we're going to be closing out the show. What's your take on this striper stuff that's coming down the pike? What do you think, Petey?
I don't know. I tell you, they already say their science is flawed. With the biomass we have here now, it's crazy. I think they got to open us up a little bit more, and definitely help the business, the charter boats, the party boats, and everything else. You know, but you know, we're working with the limits and everything. Unfortunately, we can't serve the striper anymore, so you know, we go to cod for the dinner and. But, you know, hopefully, you know, we'll...
Yeah, the camaraderie, especially among the surf anglers. Boat's one thing. The surf, I noticed the surf and jetty guys, that's a cool group in its entirety.
Yes, it is.
Okay, joining us on is Petey Cupper. It's the 12th Annual Striped Bass Surf Turkey Tournament, 11/22 through 25. It's a 4-day tournament, $45 entry fee. What's the address of Charlie's Bait and Tackle, Petey?
We're at 485 Route 35 North in Normandy Beach.
Okay, this is a cool tournament with a great party afterwards. Check it out. Petey, I told you, happy Thanksgiving, man. You know, with Thanksgiving, the Christmas season is fast approaching. If you're not doing anything tomorrow, United Bow Hunters in New Jersey is going to have a 3D shoot for Toys for Tots. They're working with the Conservation Officers Association on the deal. It's going to be up at Garden State Archers on 110 Larison Road up there in Wrightstown. Check it tomorrow. If you're not doing anything, you bring a toy, you get to shoot for free. No toy, $15, and the UBNJ will purchase toys for the kids. All shots will be at hunting ranges and in hunting scenarios. And Garden State Arts will have a kitchen open for purchase of breakfast and lunch. Shoot in the morning and, go hunting in the afternoon. Don't forget, certain DMZs are still open, and you can bow hunt on Sunday. For more information, go to the UBNJ website or give John Erndl a call at 848-223-3346. UBNJ Toys for Tots shoot. It's free if you bring a toy. I'm seeing these Toys for Tots bins with the CEOs in a lot of places. In fact, I stopped in a tackle shop earlier in the week. Hopefully we'll have someone on next week, a CEO or whatever, to talk about it. It's like a great program, and it's going to be a fun shoot. And that'll do it for this pre-Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P. Weekend of November 18th and 19th. Don't forget, trout stocking coming this Tuesday. Come hell or high water. Those trout are going to get out, and we have some nice trout going in some great South Jersey waters. God bless America. God bless our troops. God bless our first responders and law enforcement. See you next week. Rack and Fin Radio. Happy Thanksgiving to all, and yes, I will eat and drink like a man on death row, as is the norm. See you next weekend. Tom P., Rack and Fin Radio.